Analysis now completed on AFL Round 2 from a Brownlow medal perspective, where the action finally got to the MCG with Carlton Richmond on the Thursday night. Great game of footy, and the Tigers, were well in control, and Carlton came from well back and pressed very late but couldn't quite get over the line. Trent Cotchin for Richmond, a clear good player over the 4 quarters. I expect him to feature in the votes. Not sure that he gets the 3 votes though. I thought that Chrissy Yarran from Carlton had a greater influence on the game at key stages, so I'd expect that Chrissy Yarran very hard to toss for the 3. Mark Murphy, a good 4-quarter player for Carlton, particularly in the second half as part of that comeback, and I feel that those 3 players will be the ones to share it around. So Koch in the mix, not positive he gets the 3 though. Essendon Hawthorn on the Friday night was the second game of the round. And once again, Hawks had the game in control, and Essendon came from well back to press hard. But again, the Hawks steadied and were a bit too strong. Sean Burgoyne played a great game. I feel that he'll feature in the votes. However, I think that Cyril Rioli had a profound influence on the outcome, particularly in that last quarter. And I wouldn't be surprised if he is hard to toss for the 3. After such a very good game. Joby Watson, very good 4-quarter performance, should figure as well. So probably out of those 3, Rioli, Burgoyne, Jobe, the order pretty tough. Jobe's polled in both rounds 1 and 2 in my opinion, but probably in for only 1 vote in round 2. St Kilda GWS being the next game. Some said it wasn't great footy. I didn't mind watching it. Nicky Riewoldt, the skipper, led from the front again with 5 goals. Pretty sure he locks in 3 votes there, and after 2 rounds he's possibly on 6 votes in the Brownlow, certainly 5 or 6, so off to a great start. Admittedly, they've played against Melbourne and GWS, so interesting to see how the Saints go against some better opposition. Certainly Nicky, though, up there vying for the 3. I thought some of the GWS players played very well, and the margin was only 7 points. Callan Ward, great game over 4 quarters, in and under. I think that he'll feature. Shane Mumford, another good game. Devon Smith kicking goals at pretty important times. So possibly outside of Nicky Riewoldt, it's the GWS players to feature in the votes for mine. Port Adelaide, great to see footy at the Adelaide Oval. Terrific game too, and the crowd right involved. Port had the game under control for most of the afternoon, apart from Adelaide charging them in the 3rd quarter a little bit, but way too strong in the last quarter, Port. Chad Wingard, a great player. I felt that he kicked some telling goals. Polak played really well. Those 2 should figure. Hamish Hartlett won the local medal after the game, and it's hard not to give 3 votes to someone who wins the medal, but of course, not sure the umpires always follow what happens there. So out of, Hartlett, Wingard, Polak, Young's Ollie Wines played a very good game as well. So they're probably the ones to figure, and I'd be very surprised if any Adelaide players are in the votes. Freo Gold Coast Saturday night in the wet over in Perth. Rare to see a slippery game over there. It's really the 4 key players at Freo who feature here. Big Sandy, outstanding with his taps to advantage, and I think it was 54 taps that he did have. So Sandy to feature, and then it's the 3 quality on ballers in Barlow, Fife and Mundy. Of those 3, I felt Fife was the lesser light. I'm pretty sure that Mundy polls. I expect Barlow to poll. Fife is the one to miss out, in my opinion, if one of them does, because I do feel that Big Sandy's in the vote. So probably a tough game out of those 4. I think Sandy's featured in the vote, certainly in round 1 and 2. Mundy and Barlow probably much the same, and Fife might be the one to miss in both rounds 1 and 2 after being subbed in round 1. And not outstanding in round 2, but he did play a good game. Sydney Collingwood up in Sydney. Again, a bit of a slippery night Saturday night. The Pies too strong. Scotty Pendlebury, you can chalk him in for 3 votes there. Outstanding leadership, great captain's game. Only 3 possessions to quarter time, but from then on was absolutely the best man on the ground. So he gets 3. Dane Beams played a good game without being great. Kicked a good goal on his left foot, a snap over his shoulder in the last quarter at a pretty important time. Other players, Jetta from Sydney played a good game. I felt that McVeigh played a good game for 4 quarters. So probably out of Beamsy, McVeigh, Jetta outside of Scotty Pendlebury. Not positive Beamsy gets the 2, but I expect him to get 1 or 2 votes there. Brizzy Geelong on the Sunday, Stevie J, outstanding game. Was handling that ball like it was a dry day, even though it was wet and slippery. I expect he gets the 3 votes pretty clearly. Joel Selwood in and under. Great game of footy by the skipper. And both those 2 players I expect to have polled in round 1 to follow up in round 2. So we might be a situation at Geelong where the 2 of the boys, have outstanding years and are fighting out the medal or taking votes off each other. But I felt Joel right in the mix for 2. Young Zorko from Brizzy, a great game. Pierce Hanley played well. But I think Zorko probably polls a minor vote, and him and Joel could fight out the 1 and the 2 in my opinion. Melbourne West Coast MCG, the Coasters are really up and about early in the season. Some of their guys look that tall. It's a bit like watching 5 Rialto buildings out on the ovals at times. Great game by them, massive win. Nathan Jones, I do think, could pinch a vote for Melbourne. They lost by 93 points, but I thought he played a really good game, so I wouldn't chalk him in, but this is a game where he definitely could grab one if one's required late in the year to win Melbourne's votes possibly. I thought Luke Shuey was the best player over the 4 quarters. Nick Nat was outstanding in the first quarter and a half, but he faded. Still catches the eye, of course, big tall fella. But I'm not positive that Nick Nat, features in the 2 or 3. I felt Matty Pritis played a good game as well. So probably out of those 3 Eagles players with Nathan Jones, rubbing shoulders for the lower votes there. Last game of the round, Western Bulldogs, North Melbourne. Clearly the worst game of the round to watch from a viewing perspective. It was painful to sit on the couch and watch this one, I must admit, but 4 goals only in the first half, and then it settled down and opened up a bit. But Nicky Dell, the Boom recruit, really good 4-quarter effort. I expect him to feature. Boomer Harvey, well, let's note that the umpires are really off him. I don't know what he's done to an umpire over the last couple of years or done something to an umpire's wife or girlfriend, but reality is the umps just despise the bloke. But Boomer was outstanding from midway through the third until the last quarter. He kicked 3 goals, all great goals, really stood out. Heaps of run and carry and bouncing. A game where a lot of guys get you 3 votes, but for Boomer I'm simply not so sure. Nicky Dell and Boomer, though, to fight it out. Scotty Thompson, played a good game. For the Doggies, Luke Dalhouse was good over the whole 4 quarters, so I expect him potentially to sneak in for a vote as well. So, in wrapping up round 2, I feel that Stevie J, outstanding. Scotty Pendlebury, outstanding. Pretty good game from Joel Selwood. The Stars from Freo, all up and about early, and they're going to have a great year. Joby Watson, in amongst it as well. So I feel looking forward to round 3, starting to even out a bit now, and let's see where it takes us. But I hope you're all enjoying the game and keeping an eye on it from a Brownlow perspective. Over and out. Thank you.